Today we're going to discuss one of our favourite films of all time.
Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
American Light and Fixture, Director of Sales, Shower Curtain Ring Division.
I was on my way home to spend a nice holiday with my family. Instead, I'm in a motel bed with a stranger.
Stones, meet the Flintstones, they're the modern Tony family.
Those aren't pillows.
In a new film by John Hughes, Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
So we love this film, don't we?
We watch this film every year.
Yeah, every Christmas. I know it's a Thanksgiving film, isn't it? But we watch every Christmas because we don't have Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It's one of those films where it makes you laugh, makes you cry. And I know I always go on about, the emotional thing when I'm talking about things, but it actually is emotional. And a lot of people, I'm sure, would have a tear or whatever in some of the parts of the film, but you're also like laughing, uncontrollably laughing. I always find.
It's one of those films as well, and we'll get into the plot and everything in a bit, but it's one of those films where every time you watch it, you find something new to laugh at.
Yeah. And
the thing is, it isn't, which I think is a problem with a lot of comedies these days. They try and put actual jokes in there.
Yeah.
Whereas this was funny because of the characters and how they interact. It didn't have any moment where they say witty lines necessarily. It's just them reacting to each other in the situations that happen to them.
And I always thought that the chemistry in the film is what makes it. Steve Martin, John Candy. You can find on the internet. They did an interview with Steve Martin recently where he was talking about John Candy, wasn't he? And he goes over one of the passages from near the end of the film. I think it was a really long speech, wasn't it, that he was gonna do, but they cut it down for the film. And Steve Martin reads out like a little bit of it, and he tears up a little bit.
There was a line I loved. It says, I sort of attach myself to people from time to time, like with you, especially around the holidays. I can take it in March, July, October, but it gets hard. And then he said, this time I couldn't let go.
But the thing about that scene is I can act better than Steve Martin in that scene.
Yeah,
I think
it's that line, isn't it?
Yeah. So he comes in, spoiler alert, as if...
Well, yeah, exactly.
Anyone that's watching this likes the film anyway. But he comes in and he goes...
Del, what are you doing here?
I would have said, if I was John Hughes, roll it back once more. Give me something else.
Here's the thing. You do it as you would have done it.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
You're John Candy.
Okay.
What are you doing here, Del?
That was a good one.
You see? It was in the face. The face was like, I was emotional.
And that's the weird thing, because in the film, Steve Martin's acting is just great.
Yeah, all the way through.
That one line. And the thing is that's probably, that is one of my favourite parts. The line of, Marie's been dead for 8 years. And Steve Martin's face, the way he's just like...
Marie's been dead for 8 years.
Face just drops.
It was that. Yeah, it was great acting there. But that one line, I wish they'd just done a retake on that. Yeah.
One. But I don't think John Hughes, he wasn't that kind of guy to just say take loads of takes and things like that.
No, but then it was like 3 hours long, isn't it? The original cut.
Yeah. It's supposed to be lost in the vaults or whatever.
But I know, but then there are deleted scenes, aren't they?
Yeah, there's deleted scenes. And they did say that a lot of that, the actual original film was just eroded away, so they wouldn't be able to make the actual list thing of it, really, a new version. But what's the film about?
So it's about one cranky guy who's trying to get home to his family for Thanksgiving, and then one traveling salesman, John Candy, where's he going for Thanksgiving? We don't know. He's traveling around for work. But it's about how they basically... through different situations, they end up in each other's pockets all the way through on all modes of transport, hence the name of the film. But what I love about it is that the characters are so clearly defined. A lot of the problem with today, and I'll kind of get into Due Date,
exactly,
which is basically a remake of it. Similar one to when they did National Lampoon's Vacation remake.
Yeah.
But the problem with Due Date and a lot of comedies I find these days is every character is written exactly the same. It's like a Judd Apatow thing where they're all just either raunchy or they're all just doing one-liners. It's not like that.
I found that with that new National Lampoon's film. I mean, like, I like, gross out humor, in its place. But that film is just, crass ain't the word. There's a lot of things in it that are,
when they're swimming in.
he speaks to his son about just things that a dad wouldn't speak to his son about, like just embarrassing sexual things.
Dream boy. Make a muscle. I do it.
Rather not.
Take your shirt off. Make a muscle.
I really don't want
And it's like, the good thing about, say, the original National Lampoons in that case was that you didn't have that. They had like a good father-son relationship. It wasn't just constant swearing and things like that. And yet, I love swearing in films. I love Scarface and things like that. But when I want to watch a film like that, I want to feel good. I don't want to feel like, this is
icky
disgusting.
when you're watching it. Yeah.
And that is, like you were saying, Due Date is basically that. All it is drug references, just... It's
ridiculous.
You know what it is? It's mean spirited. Mean spirited is what I would go with for these new kind of films.
Yeah, it's true. Both of those characters as well. They hate each other, and you understand why they do. Whereas in the original Planes, Trains, it's like they've each got redeeming features. That gradually come out over the course of the film. Due Date, I just hated him all the time.
Say hi
to her. Do you have a hairdresser out west? I just got this killer perm and it needs major upkeep.
So that's what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, I found that, in terms of actual comedy these days, I mean, not that many comedy films are made anymore. But then again, I think that they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit, because if you take, for example, Dumb and Dumber, one of our favourite films, and then you have Dumb and Dumber 2, which is just the most disappointing, bad-spirited, just mean-spirited, and just crass film. It ruined it,
and it was just outdated. And it's that kind of thing where they repeat lines from the first one just because they're catchphrases, whereas in the first one they were just funny lines that they thought of to put in. So then you could tell it's a cash grab. It's
well, we had that conversation. We had a conversation about the Farrelly brothers, and because if you ever see Dumb and Dumber, if there's a few cuts of it, isn't there? And there's like an extended cut of it. You can see the deleted scenes. I think they might be on the DVD or something like that. And they're just terrible scenes. Like you're kind of cringing. You're kind of like whoever was the producer or whatever.
The editor,
the editor was a genius, because
we said, and then we actually looked up, and the editor of that, I'll put on screen or whatever. We'll put on screen the other films that he did, because he really earned his money, because. That film, Harry and Lloyd in that film, you actually root for them. Whereas in the longer one, I don't think you would have done.
No, you wouldn't have done. And
even the find a happy place scene. We can't say the word that he says.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were thinking, let's keep that in, where it's, basically David Brent, there's been an R up there, that kind of thing.
Basically says,
I'm going to do that to you.
First, I'm going to R you, and then I'm going to kill you.
First, I'm going to... then I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah,
that's not comedy. Whereas you see in the actual cut that came out, it's just him looking at him, and then him just like, he's there like, mwah, 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 mwah. That's a classic scene. But getting back to Planes, Trains, though, like I said, we watch it every year, and it's just. It's one of those things where you'll be sitting in the room with each other. And as you know, if you've seen our podcast, we always, if there's funny parts, we always look at each other if there's funny parts. And that's one of there's a couple of like really sad parts in it where you almost want to put like your arm up in front of your eyes so that nobody else can see that there's like a tear in your eye. Because I get that every time.
Yeah.
I really do get it every time I see those, especially, that I Like Me.
My wife likes me. My customers like me.
My wife likes me. I mean, that... these days, that scene. There's a couple of scenes. The scene in the motel when those aren't pillows. People will talk about that. They always talk about the Steve Martin when he goes to get the car.
Yeah.
You can start by wiping that dumbass smile off your rosy cheeks.
Which that's a classic scene, and they'll talk about the thing is it's been in media quite a lot now. But when we were young, of course. Nobody was talking about it in the media. So it was like when you find something, it's like your thing. You know, like a lot of people would say, my favorite film is The Godfather or whatever, but we say our favorite film is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And I must admit, there's been a lot of times where I've said to somebody's been like, "What's your favorite film?" I'm like, "Planes, Trains, and Automobiles," and they're like, "What's that?"
Yeah,
and it's like, and if you haven't seen it, just watch it.
I can see why people wouldn't watch it though. Do you know, it's one of those films, and until you actually watch it, you just think, I've got no incentive to watch it. It's an old film.
Yeah, you wouldn't
It's
know.
kind of Steve Martin. What's it about? I think a lot of those films, there's certain ones which break through and everyone ends up watching. I feel like most generations will watch Ghostbusters.
Yeah. True.
Most will probably watch Groundhog Day. But Planes, Trains is probably the next level down, where the people that watch it love it, but the people that don't watch it think, I can't be bothered to watch it.
I think that maybe some of that comes with, I think a lot of people just think of John Hughes from the teen kind of things, you know, The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, things like that. Whereas, I mean, I've seen those films, and I don't mind The Breakfast Club, but 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, I'm not a fan of them films. So if you think that that's what he's doing, and you see John Hughes' name on it, and one of the facts about that is he wrote it, what was it, in like a couple of days?
Yeah.
So he wrote it over a weekend. Steve Martin was like, couldn't believe it when he found out that he wrote it over a weekend. And it's like, there's like, even down to the little thing where when we do the podcasts, every podcast I try and sneak in a Planes, Trains reference. So if you've seen any of the podcasts, take a look, because if you look in there, you'll find it. Sometimes they're nicely hidden. Sometimes they're a little bit more obvious. But even down to in the way that it's kind of it influenced our lives. It's like, what about the watch? You know, you were saying about, because that's a hell of a nice watch. What was it? You want to get
Piaget watch, and then Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds actually puts in every one of his films the scene where John Candy's in the airport and he's reading that book. And then when he just takes it down, like, and Steve Martin's looking at him, he puts that book in every film that he's in. So it's like, it's got that warmth where if you see it, then it stays with you. And I think one of the things that I would say, and you probably say the same thing again, is we were lucky to have been, you know, around when John Candy was alive making those kind of films.
Yeah. That Uncle Buck,
yeah.
Home Alone, cameo.
Home Alone,
John Hughes again.
Polka King, polka.
The thing about John Candy is whatever film he's in, he made better. You know,
he definitely made it better.
I mean, I've never seen Spaceballs, but I assume he's good in that.
Yeah, I've not seen that either.
Maybe we'll do a review of that one day and do the old 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I've never seen that film.
But going back to the watch, I mean, I got you the Casio watch.
Yeah, I've got the Casio watch,
and I'm going to get the other one's a we'll put it on screen, Piaget Polo watch, and it is a hell of a nice watch. And I'm sure that Ryan Reynolds has got that watch.
And if Piaget, what's it called, Piaget Pote or whatever, if you're watching, send us a couple of watches and we'll wear them.
Polo's the make the like the. No,
don't embarrass me.
Oh yeah, Piaget. Send us some watches.
Yeah, send us some watches.
But
I mean, like we say, every year we watch it, and it's just it makes your day. I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited, and it's also the thing of it's just a great time because we always watch it together. It's not like I just sit and watch it on my own. We always like get together, say, because both our mum and dad like it as well, so we all get together and you always just laugh at the same things every time, even though you know what's coming.
And there's nothing in it that will be like, there's no awkward scene, there's no awkward... I mean, you can tell a lot of we'll get into what we don't like about it in a bit, because there's no awkward love scenes or anything like that. There is, it alludes to the fact he's trying to get back to his wife. And then it's interesting how that we always grew up thinking, what is the point? Why is his wife getting so bothered?
Yeah, exactly. Explain what was the behind that?
Yeah, so like basically in the film, he's going back for Thanksgiving, but if you don't know anything else, you're just like, it only takes 2 more extra days than it should do. So, but his wife is like, when are you coming home? Really bothered. I'm like, he's coming back. Give him a break. He'll get back when he gets back. But the whole cut storyline was she thought he was having an affair. And that's why he was always having to duck and dive, and that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and exactly. Different. Oh, I can't get that flight. That flight's cancelled. I can't get that, and I can't get home.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So that would have given it some kind of context to her part, because at the moment, in the theatrical cut, her she makes no sense, and she's just kind of. And then at the end, Dell is like, "Nice to meet," and she's almost like Jesus coming down the stairs.
Yeah,
it's an odd scene.
It's a very odd scene, but for me, I mean, again, that scene. It comes to like its pinnacle is the John Candy smile. As soon as he smiles at that, and then the credits roll, it's like
and then not Paul Young, but
and that was the thing about Paul Young. So Paul Young, he loves planes, trains, and automobiles. He wanted his version of Every Time You Go Away to be in the film, but the record company wouldn't let him put it in it. So that's why they had to have that different version of it. And he's just, because I'm sure I saw him on Twitter, or it was like an interview or something, and he was saying how much he regrets that his song's not in it.
I know, that would be a great thing to know you're in that film.
Yeah,
it's one of those films where every character, even like the secondary characters, are all perfectly cast.
They are.
Like the woman, I want your, where is your. The gobble gobble, gobble. Gobble, and Owen.
Oh yeah.
I love that guy. And then the other, because we love trivia.
Yeah, we totally love trivia.
And then so when Steve Martin's a germaphobe, you see that? Yeah, and then in that scene, Owen spat on his hand, shook Steve Martin's hand. Steve Martin, and then John Hughes was like, "Do it for real." And he shook his hand. So when he does it, Steve Martin's face is literally the reaction of he just spat on his hand and shook my hand. And then the original, the Mr. Heckles.
Yeah, but I can give that one away from when we did the Friends episode on the podcast. Because we did the clip of Mr. Heckles, and he was like, "You don't like emotional parts," and the thing is like, "We'll try and keep it down, Mr. Heckles." I actually put the picture of, because he plays the cab driver, doesn't he? What's that quote? We always laugh. Here's the one thing about our comedy. Say you'll watch like a lot of broad comedy films, but it's not necessarily that we always laugh at the where you're supposed to laugh parts. Yeah. People will always say those aren't two pillows, and they laugh at that. But I don't massively laugh at that part. I mean, I'll do like a ha.
Yeah.
But I don't. But the one in the cab. There's a line that we always laugh at, and it just shows. If you've watched the pod, our weird kind of sense of humor. But what's the fun part?
So that they get the taxi from the airport to the motel. And then the taxi driver's taking him the long way on the. He's like, why don't you take the freeway? He's like, well, your first time in town. Want to show you around. Steve Martin's like, it's the middle of the night, and then John Candy says,
he loves his town. He's proud of his town.
But what I love about that is John Candy's always trying to find the positives.
Yeah,
like he is just like no. It's okay. He loves his town. He's trying to find the best in people, and I just love that.
Yeah, I mean, and like we said before, we've watched a lot of Steve Martin films, a lot of John Candy films. If you went on, like we said, we love trivia and stuff. If you go on IMDb, you can see that this is Steve Martin's favorite film of all the films he's done. So, like I was saying before, if you haven't seen it before, just check it out, because it really is, it's...
Yeah, and let us know what you thought about it.
Yeah,
if you hadn't watched it before that. It's almost like the John Hughes kind of Rat Pack, where he got the same people in every, in a lot of the films. I think that really made a big difference. What I wonder what John Candy would have done if he was still alive. It's just that kind of thing, because
if you remember, because he was looking to branch out, wasn't he? Have you seen JFK?
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, in JFK, he's extremely good in that.
Hell no. Like I told that Bertram cat right off. Cash you, please. This ain't my scene, man.
And Steve Martin said it himself. He was like, the thing about John Candy is you don't realize what a good actor he is. And that, I think Planes, Trains was probably one of the first times where he had a chance to show his acting chops. You know,
and
he said, and one of the things that I wanted to touch on is that he always wanted to get out of, the bigger guy role. Like a lot of the roles were about him being a bigger guy, and he just wanted to kind of get away from that. But one of the videos, and I think it's one of the extras on the actual DVD, is it just shows all the people out of the film talking about John Candy, and it's just like everybody loves John Candy. They were like, he's like a big teddy bear. They said on screen, he's exactly the same in real life.
You can imagine that.
Yeah, I can imagine that. You get a lot of actors where they pretend to be something.
And Steve Martin is tricky, apparently, because he's a serious guy.
He is a serious guy. I mean, what is it? When he gave up like stand-up comedy to do films, people were like, well, why are you giving up stand-up comedy? And he was basically like, he was kind of scared of it, wasn't he? He was kind of like, I just don't think I'm that funny anymore.
Yeah, it's a weird. And then when Dennis Pennis said, "Hey Steve, why aren't you funny anymore?"
How come you're not funny anymore?
And then he said he cancelled all his appointments for those couple of days because he was like, it cut him down to the bone. And you can imagine. I always remember a quote from him. It was in that documentary I was playing. It was like a late 90s documentary. And then he said, the thing about me is, I think I'm a nice guy most of the time, but that 1% of time I'm in a bad mood because, I've crashed my car into someone or whatever, someone will see me and then they'll say, oh, that's Steve Martin's a right asshole. Because that one day I was in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And then that's why being a celebrity would be hard work. And people like Robin Williams and John Candy, even if you're feeling like you don't want to be a nice guy, they were always nice guys.
I mean, I saw an interview with John Candy, and he's on some like news report. I think he was talking about he owned like a hockey team or something like that. And as he's walking along, somebody in the background's like, "Hey, John Candy, I love you," and he's like, "Yeah, thanks a lot, man." And he's just that kind of guy. You would think if you went up to him, like, I'm not an autograph hunter, but if you went up to him and asked him, you couldn't imagine him being like, no.
Yeah, he would always find the time for you. It's just a shame.
It is. It's a shame. It's a big loss.
Yeah,
that he's not around, and he was young when he died.
I mean,
Cool Runnings. I saw Cool Runnings in the cinema. Like,
yeah, 1990. That was probably 1993, 94. Wasn't it?
Because his last film was that Wagons East.
Yeah, I've not seen that, and he didn't even want to do it.
No,
but wasn't contractually obliged to do it.
And I think it was the heat he was in the desert, and with his weight and things like that.
Yeah, and his family had a history of heart disease, didn't they?
And I think one of the things to touch on is one of the best things is it's a standalone film. There's no sequel. There's no nothing after that. It's going to be kept perfectly there forever.
And then they tried to remake it, obviously with due date, didn't work.
It did. No,
I think on the rumors like Kevin Hart is going to do one with someone else.
They always show up every once in a while, every few years, don't they? They're going to do a new Planes Train. You can't do a new Planes Train. It's like when they tried to do Ghostbusters. It's like,
and it just wouldn't work anymore, purely for the fact technology means you can find a way home. Back then, if you can't get in touch with someone, you couldn't get in touch with them. You didn't have your mobile phone. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have GPS. You had to ask around. The scene, my favourite scene, 3 coins in a
fountain, each one seeking seeking happiness.
Yeah, you know this.
You know this. I still quote that when I'm saying like something, and then they don't know what I'm saying. Like, then it goes. Come on, you know this one.
Flintstones meet the Flintstones.
What I love about John Candy's reaction in that is when Steve Martin's doing it, he tries to join in. He just knows. Because he's like, he still wants his new friend to not be made a fool of. So he tries to be a nice guy. I bet that was improvised, by John Candy.
I bet it was.
His character would do that.
One of the things that always it comes across is, like we were saying about the warmth and things, just the way that they just become friends. 2 polar opposites, but they become friends, and it's believable. I think in a lot of films, these new films, a lot of times I don't believe the relationships that are actually in the films. Whereas, example would be Due Date.
Yeah,
Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis. It's like there's no chemistry there. He literally, Downey Jr. just hates him all the way through the film, and then at the end they just go like, do the old switcheroo or whatever, and then they just change it round. Suddenly they're like best mates.
Yeah, and it's not earned at all.
It's not.
Whereas even in the start of Trains, Planes, I mean, like John Candy annoys Steve Martin by taking his taxi, but that was a mistake. He didn't mean to take it, and all these kind of things. John Candy, his character was always a nice guy. He was just annoying. The bit on the "my dogs are barking tonight." He doesn't know. He's completely ignorant to the fact that he is annoying.
Yeah, and we used to do that. Didn't he said, last thing you want is some like blabbermouth talking your ear off on the plane or whatever. Of course, we alluded to before, the scene with John Candy in the hotel room where he gets hurt. But I mean, like that speech by Steve Martin. Every once in a while, like literally, I'll see him, and then he'll be like, do the speech from Planes, Trains. Remember it exactly.
Wait, here we
literally,
go.
if you get one,
Here we go. You notice on the plane, eventually I started reading the vomit bag. Didn't that give you some kind of clue? Like, hey, maybe this guy's not enjoying it. You're a miracle. Your stories have none of that. I love this next line. They're not even amusing accidentally. It's just... I wonder, because I bet John Hughes would have scripted that to the exact word, wouldn't he? And it's one of the best monologues in film history.
It is one of the best monologues.
Got me into certain songs again, like Ray Charles.
Yeah.
And I said, go just shake your leg and do the mess around.
Oh, no. I mean, there's so many iconic scenes that you just forget about until it comes back into your head when you think about certain scenes. When they're on the motorway.
Yeah, get that.
You're going the
wrong way.
How's he know where we're going? He's drunk.
I use that loads of times whenever I'm thinking of going the wrong way. But then I remember that some people just haven't seen the film, so they won't get that reference.
And then he just turns into the devil.
Yeah. So, again, we'll watch it again this year. It's gold.
We'll probably do when we watch it again. We'll probably do a video where we react to it.
Yeah,
just so we can see that. I mean, then we can re-edit this video and put it out. When we've got 1 million subscribers, they won't have seen this early video.
Well, yeah, exactly. But we're nearly at 100 now, so
yeah. But for us, it's a 10 out of 10.
It's a definite 10 out of 10.
So, what would you give it out of 10? And what are your favorite?
If you've seen it, what are your favorite quotes? Just drop them in the comments and. Please like, subscribe, and share because we need it. We're desperate. Please
don't say that. We want to look back one day and not say we begged for the stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. But well, let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
See you later.